Prince William thought a polite public kiss would mask the brutal corporate execution happening behind palace walls, but Sarah Ferguson is officially ready for war. When the future king decided to ruthlessly purge Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie from the monarchy, he expected them to fade away quietly. Instead, he unleashed a fiercely protective mother who is now prepared to burn the family dynamic to the ground to save her daughters. The Windsor bloodline is officially fractured, and Fergie is holding a devastating weapon that William never saw coming. King Charles thought he could buy permanent silence, but Prince William just completely blocked the transaction, sparking a fierce generational clash over the crown's wealth. Reports suggest an unprecedented fiscal battle is currently tearing through the palace hierarchy, turning the financial future of the York family into a high-stakes chess match. The monarch is deeply terrified of another devastating public memoir exposing the family's deepest anxieties, and he wanted to neutralize the threat before it began. Insiders say Charles quietly attempted to establish a lifetime financial safety net for Sarah Ferguson, a continuous stream of funding designed to keep her secure. The ultimate goal was simple: keep her extensive personal archives and diaries locked away forever. But the future king refused to let the package go through, drawing a hard line in the sand. William reportedly views this entire arrangement as nothing short of institutional bribery, and he is completely unwilling to yield a single penny of royal funds to someone who does not officially represent the crown. This massive clash has created an absolute deadlock at the highest levels of the monarchy, pitting a cautious father against an uncompromising son. According to sources, William believes that channeling wealth toward non-working royals sets a dangerous precedent that could permanently damage the public's trust. This sudden intervention has left Sarah facing a severe financial crunch, and her patience has completely run out. Rumors indicate she is now highly motivated to leverage her decades of meticulous personal notes to expose the future king's relentless pursuit of power and his vision for a highly restricted monarchy. Charles wanted to maintain a fragile peace, but William's absolute refusal has backed a protective mother directly into a corner. The financial pipeline is rapidly shutting down, and the consequences of freezing her out are about to trigger a massive public fallout that the institution is completely unprepared to handle. Because as the funding disappears, the cold, calculated strategy behind this targeted campaign is finally coming to light. Sarah Ferguson is convinced her daughters are being systematically turned into royal outcasts for mistakes they didn't even make. Reports suggest Ferguson is absolutely furious about the current narrative, believing Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie are being painted as an unfair burden on the British public. Insiders say Sarah is openly pointing the finger at Prince William, claiming he is the driving force behind a deliberate campaign to turn King Charles against her children. She refuses to sit back while her daughters are transformed into convenient scapegoats for a streamlined monarchy. The strategy of isolating the sisters has sent shockwaves through their immediate circle. According to sources, Beatrice and Eugenie have spent years bending over backwards to support the family and honor their royal heritage. Yet, despite their loyalty, they are allegedly facing unprecedented hostility from the upper echelons of the institution. It is claimed that Sarah treats this behavior as entirely uncalled for, watching with growing alarm as her daughters are singled out and pushed to the margins of royal life. The depth of Sarah's anger stems from a belief that a targeted smear campaign is underway. Rumors indicate she has vented to close associates that a coordinated effort is active to completely shift public opinion against Eugenie and Beatrice. To her, it is deeply unjust that her daughters are being publicly framed as a financial drain on the crown when they have consistently stepped up to perform duties whenever asked. She views this treatment not as an administrative adjustment, but as a harsh personal campaign orchestrated by the future king to purge the family tree. But shouting at palace walls will not reverse the changing tides of power. Rumors indicate that Sarah is fiercely protective and refuses to let this treatment continue without a fight. She has allegedly told associates that William is riding high on his future authority, showing a calculated coldness that she finds utterly baffling. As the public pressure intensifies, Sarah knows that standard complaints will no longer protect her family's legacy. To shift the balance of power, she is prepared to use information that could rewrite the public's entire perception of the future king. And the first major blow in this unfolding conflict is targeting the very roofs over her daughters' heads. The ultimate weapon being used to push Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie out of their homes isn't a sudden legal decree, but a quiet administrative squeeze on their finances. Reports suggest that a major financial audit has completely exposed how the sisters maintain their highly coveted London lifestyles. For nearly 2 decades, the public believed the princesses were funding their own prestigious residences. However, a massive report from the National Audit Office recently uncovered that King Charles has been quietly footing the entire bill, spending hundreds of thousands of pounds annually from his private funds to cover their rent. This unexpected disclosure has completely transformed the public perception of the York family. Insiders say that Princess Beatrice's luxurious 4-bedroom apartment at St. James's Palace and Princess Eugenie's residence at Ivy Cottage in Kensington Palace are heavily discounted, running at only a fraction of their true open market value. Rumours indicate that political figures and the British public are growing increasingly furious, openly questioning why non-working royals with private careers and wealthy partners are being heavily subsidized by the crown. But the real threat to their stability isn't just public anger, it is Prince William's long-term plan for the monarchy. According to sources, the future king is determined to completely reassess the footprint of the institution, ensuring that royal real estate is reserved exclusively for those actively serving the public. William has reportedly made it clear that when he takes the throne, the era of subsidized housing for non-working relatives will come to an abrupt end. The sisters have allegedly been informed that their current arrangements are not a permanent entitlement, and the clock is ticking for them to find alternative arrangements in London. Sarah Ferguson views this shifting policy as a calculated, deeply unfair targeting of her children. It is claimed the Duchess believes her daughters are being forced to pay for the controversies surrounding their father, effectively erasing their future security within the family. This looming eviction plan has completely destabilized the family dynamic, pushing Sarah to find a way to intervene before her daughters are entirely cast aside. But as she prepares to launch a counter-offensive to protect their status, she faces a major unexpected obstacle that could compromise her entire strategy from within. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie are reportedly begging their own mother to back down, terrified that her intervention will completely destroy what is left of their royal future. For decades, Sarah Ferguson and her daughters were known as the unbreakable tripod, a fiercely loyal unit that stood together through every major public storm. But according to sources, that tight-knit bond is rapidly fracturing as the sisters realize they are being trapped in a dangerous crossfire. They are well aware that their ultimate fate rests entirely in Prince William's hands, and they know that King Charles will not step in to challenge his heir on their behalf. This internal division has created a state of absolute panic within the York family. Reports suggest that Beatrice and Eugenie are deeply concerned that their mother's aggressive stance will permanently land them in William's bad books. Insiders say the sisters are already highly sensitive about being tarnished by association due to past family scandals, and they recognize that their position is incredibly fragile. They haven't completely given up hope of finding a peaceful resolution, but they know that the last thing they need is Sarah entering the fray with a public campaign of threats and accusations. The pressure behind palace walls has forced a dramatic, tense standoff between mother and daughters. Rumors indicate that Beatrice and Eugenie have explicitly warned Sarah that a public fallout will only accelerate their exit from the royal circle. While Sarah has allegedly promised them to keep things civil for the time being, close associates claim her patience with the future. King is hanging by an incredibly thin thread. She wants to defend her children at all costs, but her daughters are pleading for diplomacy, knowing that a single misstep could shut them out of the monarchy forever. This desperate struggle for survival has exposed a massive shift in how the royal family operates. The sisters are trying to play by the rules and quietly adapt to the changing landscape, but their mother's fierce protective instincts threaten to upend their cautious approach. And as this internal battle reaches a boiling point, the reality of what awaits the entire institution under its future leadership is becoming impossible to ignore. The unfolding conflict between Sarah Ferguson and Prince William is far more than a typical family dispute. It is a definitive preview of the future reign of the British monarchy. Reports suggest that the uncompromising stance taken against Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie highlights a massive shift toward a highly institutionalized, performance-based royal family. Under William's future leadership, sentimentality and historical privileges are being completely cast aside in favor of public accountability and streamlined operations. For the York family, the message is clear. If you are not actively serving the institution, you will no longer be supported by it. This new reality leaves Sarah Ferguson facing a critical, life-altering decision that could permanently reshape the royal landscape. Insiders say that while she has agreed to maintain a fragile peace for the sake of her daughters, her restraint is pushing her to its absolute limits. The temptation to leverage her extensive personal archives and tell her side of the story remains a powerful option, especially as financial pressures mount. If she chooses to go public with her perspective, it could trigger a historic fallout that forces the public to completely re-examine the character of the future king. Ultimately, Beatrice and Eugenie find themselves caught between a fiercely protective mother and a relentless institutional tide. They are adapting to a world where they must pay their own way and navigate the shadows of past controversies without a royal safety net. Whether Sarah will ultimately respect her daughter's wishes to stay silent, or if her patience will completely snap, remains the ultimate unanswered question hanging over Buckingham Palace. One thing is certain, the era of royal entitlement is officially coming to a close, and the changing of the guard will spare absolutely no one.